So, Bacha, if you remember in the last class, we did some examples of acid and metal reactions, right? So when acid reacts with metal, we know that we will have salt and hydrogen gas. And I gave you some examples, like I gave you example of sulfuric acid with few metals like sodium and potassium. So whenever they react, but so what is going to be happen? We know that potassium and sodium are from group number 1, so they have charge +1 on them, and the charge on sulfate is 2 minus. So when we make a formula between these two ions, so it will be Na2SO4, and hydrogen gas is compulsory, so definitely it is going to be produced. And over here K2SO4 and hydrogen gas is compulsory, right? So if you want to balance the equation over here, so bacho, we already have 2 hydrogen over here and 2 hydrogen here, and we have SO4 one time and SO4 one time. We just have 2 sodium over here, so we just need to write 2 over here and 2 over here. In this way, the equation is going to be balanced. Is that right, bacho? I think you all did like this, right? And if you talk about the reaction with the aluminum or any other metal like magnesium and calcium, if you talk about magnesium and like zinc, like you talk about calcium or strontium, any metal that have a +2 charge. So whenever any metal has +2 charge, right, and the sulfate is also 2 minus, so the numbers are same and the charges are opposite, we just combine them together. So the formula will be MgSO4. We just need to combine, right? So over here the formula will be MgSO4 and hydrogen gas is compulsory, and over here it will be ZnSO4 and hydrogen gas is compulsory, and the equation is already balanced, right? If you talk about the reaction of sulfuric acid with aluminum, so aluminum is having a charge of 3 plus, right? And the sulfate is 2 minus. So the numbers are opposite, so we can cross multiply them, and the formula will be aluminum 2SO4 thrice and hydrogen gas is compulsory, right? So in this way, you can see this that we have 3 sulfates over here. Overall SO4, I am just going to balance the complete SO4. So I'm talking about the complete SO4. So ये पूरे SO4 कितने बच्चों 3 है ना? So if I want to balance this SO4 complete, so I can write 3 over here. So ये हो गया 3 SO4, right? We have 3 to the 6 hydrogen as well, so I can write 3 over here as well. And we have 2 aluminum, so I can write 2 over here. This is balanced chemical equation for the reaction of sulfuric acid with aluminum. All right, same as it is, you need to write the equations with nitric acid as well. So if you talk about nitric acid, bachcho, so HNO3. If you talk about HNO3, so when HNO3 reacts with sodium or potassium, we know that Na is +1 and NO3 is actually -1, right? So when the charges are opposite and the numbers are same, we just combine them together. So it will be NaNO3 and hydrogen gas is compulsory because this is a reaction of acids and metal, right? And if you want to balance this equation, so we have 2 hydrogens over here, so we need to write 2 over here. Now it means we have 2 nitrate as well, so we need to write 2 over here and 2 over here, right? And if you want to write equation with any metal having 2 plus charge, so the formula will be magnesium is 2 plus and nitrate is 1 minus. So the numbers are going to be cross multiply because we have 2 different atoms of 2 different elements over here, so we need to use brackets over here, right? So either 2 magnesium ka ja raha hai, it is for both of them, nitrogen and oxygen, so that is why we need to use bracket over here. And then hydrogen gas is compulsory, so 2 nitrates and 2 hydrogens, so we can write 2 over here for the balancing. And if you talk about aluminum with HNO3, bacho, so HNO3 reacting with aluminum, so it will form what? Aluminum is 3 plus and nitrate is 1 minus, so this 3 will here and there's 1 over here. Again, the 3 is going towards N and O, both of them, right? So it is the time to use brackets, so you can use aluminum nitrate like this, right? And hydrogen gas. And in such reactions, you need to make the odd number even first. So we can write 2 over here, so it will be 2, 3 is 6. And we can write 6 over here, so the 6 nitrates over here as well. 6H है, 3 to the 6 and 2 ammonium, it will be like this. Right, so these are the reactions that you need to understand. And now very important thing to understand बच्चों is test for hydrogen gas. Definitely during all these reactions, we have one thing which is very common over here. And if examiner asks you to write the observation of these reactions, we have a lot of reactions over here, bacho. This is like reaction number 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just write 8 equations over here. And if examiner asks to write the observation of these reactions, so you can write that in all the reactions, you can see this, the hydrogen gas is going to be evolved, right? So definitely when there is a gas evolve in the product, जब कभी भी आपके पास क्या हो, प्रोडक्ट में गैस इवॉल्व हो रही हो, you can write the observation of such reactions like, आप इसका observation लिख सकते हो, colorless gas phases. Colorless gas phases. You can write the observation for all these reactions, for all these 8 reactions. आप इसकी एक observation लिख सकते हो क्या, that colorless gas phases, because hydrogen gas is colorless, so we can write observation colorless gas phases, or you can even use the word effervescence, right? So you can say that effervescence, right? You can use this word as well, right? आप कह सकते हो कि यहाँ पर ऑब्जर्वेशन क्या होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि प्रोडक्ट में गैस आ रही है तो डेफिनेटली एफर्वेसेंस होंगे, या कोई बबल्स, छोटे छोटे से बबल्स, यानी कि गैस फिजेस हो रही होगी. जस्ट लाइक दैट, जब आप कोल्ड ड्रिंक को जो है खोलते हो, कोल्ड ड्रिंक का कैप खोलते हो, तो आपने देखा होगा कि उसके अंदर एक छोटे छोटे से बबल्स नजर आ रहे होते हैं. वो जो छोटे छोटे से बबल्स होते हैं ना, उसका मतलब होता है एफर्वेसेंस, उसको हम बोलते हैं एफर्वेसेंस, ठीक है ना. तो उस ऑब्जर्वेशन को हम एफर्वेसेंस बोलते हैं. जहां कहीं भी किसी भी रिएक्शन में गैस प्रोड्यूस हो रही होगी, एस्केप हो रही होगी, गैस रिलीज हो रही होगी, गैस इवॉल्व हो रही होगी, तो उसके अंदर हम ऑब्जर्वेशन लिख सकते हैं. उस वक्त हम महसूस कर रहे होंगे, उस वक्त हम देख रहे होंगे कि वहां से छोटे छोटे बबल्स बन रहे होंगे उस बीकर में ना. यू कैन से दैट effervescence या colorless gas phases. This is the observation for any reaction in which the gas is going to be produced, right? अब आप बोलते हैं सर हमने तो ये रिएक्शन पढ़ा ही नहीं, पता नहीं कौन सा रिएक्शन है, अभी ये रिएक्शन हमने पढ़ा ही नहीं है, इसकी ऑब्जर्वेशन हम कैसे याद रखें? तो इसकी ऑब्जर्वेशन आप इस तरह याद रखेंगे कि जब कभी भी किसी भी रिएक्शन में कोई भी रैंडम इक्वेशन उसने दे दी, कोई भी रैंडम जो है उसने रिएक्शन दे दिया आपको, उस रैंडम रिएक्शन और इक्वेशन में अगर आप देख रहे हैं प्रोडक्ट में एक चीज गैस प्रोड्यूस हो रही है, तो आप ये ऑब्जर्वेशन लिख सकते हो, कलरलेस गैस फेजेस या एफर्वेसेंस. तो ये आपको 1 मार्क दे के जाएगा, राइट. नाउ अब ये कौन सी गैस रिलीज हुई है, वी डोंट नो, बिकॉज क्या हुआ भाई, कलरलेस गैस आ रही है. अब कलरलेस गैस आ रही है, वी आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड ये कौन सी गैस है. कलरलेस तो अमोनिया भी होती है, कलरलेस तो ऑक्सीजन भी होती है, कलरलेस तो नाइट्रोजन भी होती है, कलरलेस तो हाइड्रोजन भी होती है. तो इसके लिए टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा हमें. वी नीड टू टेस्ट दिस गैस टू आइडेंटिफाई कि ये गैस है कौन सी. तो अगर आप हाइड्रोजन का टेस्ट करते हैं, सो हाउ कैन यू आइडेंटिफाई दैट ये हाइड्रोजन गैस है, तो उसका टेस्ट कैसे करेंगे आप? यू नीड टू प्लेस a lightened splint near the gas. What you need to do, you need to place a lightened splint near the gas. Lightened splint near the gas. आप गैस के पास लेके आएंगे एक lightened splint जिसमें आग लगी हुई हो. So अगर वो lightened splint बुझ जाता है with a pop-up sound, that means कि वो गैस आपके पास हाइड्रोजन गैस है. So you need to remember कि इस टेस्ट की ऑब्जर्वेशन क्या होगी. इस टेस्ट की ऑब्जर्वेशन फिक्स है, जब भी आप हाइड्रोजन गैस का टेस्ट करेंगे उसकी ऑब्जर्वेशन यही होगी, that lightened splint extinguish with a pop-up sound. ये बुझ जाएगा, extinguish with a pop-up sound. ये लिखना जरूरी है, extinguish with a pop-up sound. इसका आपको 1 मार्क मिलेगा, with a pop-up sound, right? So you need to remember this test. This is very important test for the chemistry. Paper 1, paper 2 and paper 4 बहुत important test है, कहीं ना कहीं आपसे वो ये पूछ लेगा. So remember बच्चों, what is the test for hydrogen gas? If you want to check if the gas is hydrogen, so you need to place a lightened splint, any splint that has a fire on it. You can place that, or you can come that splint closer to the gas जिसको आप expect करना चाह रहे हो कि यार ये हो सकती है, शायद you are expecting that it should be the hydrogen gas. So you can just take a lighting flame or any source on which you have a fire. You can place that source near the gas. If that shows what a pop-up sound, or the splint is going to be extinguished with a pop-up sound, that confirms that this is a hydrogen gas. Is that clear, bachcho?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is actually the overall first chemical property of acids, and now we are moving towards the chemical property number 2. Chemical property number 2 kya hai bachcho? Chemical property number 2 is this. For example, chemical property number 2 of acids. We are talking about chemical properties of acids. So we already did the first one, and now we are moving towards chemical property number 2. And this is what? Whenever you react acids with metal carbonates, any compounds having CO3 with metal is metal carbonate. When you react such compounds with acids, it will must form carbon dioxide, salt, and water. Right? These 3 products are going to be over there that you need to understand. Right, बच्चों? So let's start with the first example. For example, सबसे पहले तो आपको ये identify करना जरूरी है कि which one are metal carbonate. So for example, if you have calcium carbonate, if you just look at over here, this is calcium metal and this is CO3 carbonate. So it is one of the metal carbonate. If you talk about sodium carbonate, this is what? Metal carbonate. If you talk about magnesium carbonate, it is metal carbonate. If you talk about copper carbonate, this is metal carbonate. If you talk about zinc carbonate, this is metal carbonate. So these are the compounds, or these are the substances that I'm talking about. कि यार metal carbonate से reaction कराना है हमें. किससे कराना है? Metal carbonate से, right? And हम reaction किससे करा रहे हैं बच्चों? We are reacting these substances with acids. So we know that acid can be HCl, acid can be H2SO4, acid can be HNO3, right? Nitric acid, sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid. It can be H3PO4 as well, right? And I'm just writing HCl over here. Just it will be easier for you because I don't want to use carboxylic acid over here or any other acid, which is less useful in the exams. So we are using these 4 that are most useful acids, right? So बच्चों, जब भी आपको इस तरह का कोई रिएक्शन नजर आएगा, you just need to write. सबसे पहले क्या लिखोगे? सर सबसे पहले हम लिखेंगे कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड वाटर, because it is the compulsory product. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड तो बननी है, पानी तो बनना है. So just write these product first, and then the remaining one form salts, right? So don't be confused. Just write the compulsory products over there, and then we will see about the salts. Now we know that. What is the definition of salt? We know that the salts are actually substances or the compounds that form when H positive ions, one or more than one H positive ion from acids, are replaced by metal ions. So that means this H ion is replaced by metal ion. This H ion are going to replace by metal ion. This H ion are replaced by metal ion. So these are actually salts that are going to be formed. So that's not a big deal for us. We know that chloride is negative and calcium is 2 positive, right? So when we make a compound between these 2 ions, so it will be calcium chloride, right? If you talk about sulfate and sodium, just remember this is a very common mistake from you guys. You always use Na2 over here. But just look at over here. If you talk about the formation of salts, so we always use a single atom of metals, right? Because metals are always in the monoatomic form. They are always single. So just use a single form of sodium. Sodium positive होता है अकेले form में. Sodium Na2 is not some, कुछ नहीं होता, ये कुछ भी नहीं है, सही है ना? So you need to use a single sodium, right? So it is Na, right? When Na react with sulfate, right? So what will be the formula, बच्चों? This 2 will here, this 1 over here. The formula will be sodium sulfate. And the third one is nitrate and magnesium. Magnesium is 2 plus and nitrate is 1 minus. So there's 2 over here. There's 1 over here. The formula is again MgNO3 should be in the bracket and twice, because the 2 from magnesium should be for both of them, for nitrogen and oxygen, both of them, right? Then if you talk about copper phosphate, so it will be copper 2 plus over here, right? Because carbonate is 2 minus, so copper should be 2 plus over here, and phosphate charge is 3 minus. So when we talk about the formula between these 2, so it is like this. So it should be copper 3 phosphate के साथ 2, right? And if you talk about the last one, so it will be very easy, zinc chloride. Now, if you are able to write these equations perfectly, then you can balance the equation in the end. There is no use of balancing first and then writing the wrong formula, right? Just remember, just write the correct formula first, and then we can do balancing. If you are not able to do balancing, that's fine. You can do this later on, but first of all, you need to make the correct formula of the compounds. That is the basic thing. अगर आप केमिस्ट्री में गलत कंपाउंड्स के फॉर्मूला बनाओगे तो इसका मतलब ये है कि आपको केमिस्ट्री नहीं आती. अगर आप फॉर्मूला सही बना रहे हो, बैलेंसिंग आपसे नहीं हो रही, दैट मींस यू नीड सम इंप्रूवमेंट, दैट्स फाइन. लेकिन अगर आप फॉर्मूला ही गलत बना रहे हो, उसके बाद आप कोशिश में लगे हो बैलेंसिंग में, तो दिस इज समथिंग हार्मफुल फॉर यू. सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कि केमिस्ट्री पढ़ने की सबसे पहले तो कंपाउंड्स के फॉर्मूले आपको सबसे अच्छे आने चाहिए, परफेक्टली बनाने आने चाहिए. दैट मींस यू कैन डू देन रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स, दैट्स फाइन. Now, just look at over here. The balancing is easy once you do the correct formula over here, right? So just look at over here. How many chlorines we have over here? We have 2 chlorines. So just write 2 over here, right? So chlorine are balanced over here on both sides. Let's talk about the hydrogen. We have 2 hydrogens and we have 2 hydrogen. That is also balanced. We have 1 calcium. We have 1 calcium. That is fine. If you talk about CO3, so CO3 is 1 over here. The whole CO3 is 1. And whenever you have 1 CO3, it will produce 1 carbon dioxide, right? You need to remember this. CO3 में से एक CO2 निकलता है. CO3 में से एक CO2 निकलता है. तो देखें कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बन गई और जो ऑक्सीजन बचा वो वाटर में आ गया, right? So you can do the balancing in this way as well. अगर आपको काउंट करना है तो आप काउंट भी कर सकते हैं. On both sides carbon are same, on both sides oxygen are same. So you can do this one as well. लेकिन अगर आप मॉलिक्यूलर आयन को एक साथ बैलेंस करोगे तो it will be easier for you, right? Just look at over here. Hydrogen 2, SO4 1, SO4 1, right? Na2, you have Na2, right? Carbonate CO3, एक ही CO3 है आपके पास. यहाँ एक CO3 से एक ही कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड निकल गया और ये तो बची हुई ऑक्सीजन थी वो वाटर में आ गई. So it is balanced, already balanced. The equation is already balanced over here. So we don't need to write anything over here in this equation. If you talk about the third one, so we have 2 nitrates over here. NO3 कितने हैं बच्चों? 2 हैं. So we can write 2 over here for the balancing of NO3. तो देखिए N और O दोनों एक साथ बैलेंस हो गए यहाँ पर NO3 में. Then we have 2 hydrogens. We have already 2 hydrogens over here. We have 1 CO3 which produce 1 CO2 और जो remaining oxygen है वो आ गया water. It is balanced. Then in the last one, if you talk about this one, so we have 2 phosphates over here. Just look at over here. Outside the bracket we have 2. That means PO4 दो हैं हमारे पास, ठीक है ना? So we can write 2 over here. So it is 2 PO4 over here as well. 2 3 is 6, 3 2 is 6. And if you focused over here, that we have 3 coppers over here, so we can write 3 over here, right? So 3 copper and 3 carbonate as well. We have CO3 कितने हैं? 3 CO3s हैं हमारे पास. तो 3 CO3s हैं तो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी 3 बने. It is balanced, right? Then in the last one, we just need to write 2 over here. It is balanced. Is that right, बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, one more thing very important to you guys to remember, but your acids are always aqueous. So we just need to write AQ over here. All the acids are aqueous in state. So you can write aqueous symbol over here as a state symbol. You can write AQ, right? If you talk about water, so water is liquid. So you can write L over here as a state symbol. And if you talk about carbon dioxide, so it is gaseous. So we can write G over here as a state symbol, right? And now the problem is with carbonates and the salts, right? So you are able to write the state symbols of salts and all the things like this: carbonate, hydroxide, oxides, or sulfates. You will learn the state symbols of these in the formation of salts, right? So once we are moving towards salts, you are going to learn the solubilities of the compounds. Once you are able to identify this, which one is soluble and which one is insoluble, then you can easily write what? The state symbol of the compound. So we are just leaving this right now क्योंकि अभी मैंने आपको salts पढ़ाया नहीं है, तो इसकी state symbols अभी छोड़ देते हैं. जो easy हैं वो हमने लिख ली. जब आप salts पढ़ लोगे तो वो भी आप लिख लोगे. That's not a big deal for you. Now there is a skill test for you, but I am just using this in front of you as a sample, right? And you can write the equation with these acids and metal carbonates. For example, if you have K2CO3, I think you can write the reaction of HCl with this. And if you talk about you have barium carbonate, so I think you can write a reaction of HCl with barium carbonate as well. And if you have aluminum carbonate, so you can even write the reaction of aluminum carbonate with HCl as well, right? Just write down the reaction of these three carbonate with HCl with H2SO4, right? Just do it quick. These are 6 equations, right? You need to write this and send me the pictures of this. You need to write the correct formula. That's fine if you are not balancing this. So you must need to write the correct formula. बस आप formula सही लिख लें and that's enough for me. और खैर है अगर balancing if you talk about the observation of these reactions, बच्चों सारे reactions जितने भी आपने यहाँ लिखे ना, all the reactions have the same observation as well as you did in the last 8 reactions. So you can see over here again in all these reactions, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide. In all these reactions, carbon dioxide is compulsory in the product, right? When there is a gas in the product, so you can write the observation of such reactions that effervescence seen, yeah, colorless gas presence, right? You can even write colorless gas presence. This would be the observation for all these reactions because one of the product is gas, right? Or you can even write कि इस reaction में आप जब आप इसको lab में कराओगे या किसी container में कराओगे या किसी beaker में ये reaction आप कराओगे, so you must watch effervescence over there. आप उस beaker के around क्या देखोगे बच्चों? Effervescence देखोगे. Is that clear? So there should be effervescence. You will find, right? Effervescence, right? जब भी आप कोई सी भी गैस किसी लिक्विड में से निकलते हुए देखोगे वहां छोटे छोटे से बबल्स आपको नजर आएंगे, उस छोटे छोटे बबल्स को आप फेजेस लिख सकते हो या एफरवेसेंस लिख सकते हो. नाउ इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस कि यार ये गैस कौन सी है, इसको आइडेंटिफाई करना हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. एज वी डिड इन द लास्ट वन एज वेल, वहां पर हाइड्रोजन बन रही थी, वो भी कलरलेस थी, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड भी कलरलेस है. सो हाउ डू वी आइडेंटिफाई कि कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड है या हाइड्रोजन गैस है? तो हाइड्रोजन गैस को हमने किया था लाइट एंड स्प्लेंड से चेक. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड को हम चेक करते हैं बच्चों लाइम वाटर से. सो व्हाट इज द टेस्ट फॉर कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड? टेस्ट फॉर कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड gas, if you want to confirm that the gas or the bubbles are coming which are colorless are from carbon dioxide or any other gas, so you can use lime water for the test. So what is test? You just need to pass the gas through lime water. What you need to do? Pass the gas through lime water. Pass the gas through lime water. Lime water is a liquid which is colorless, right? A colorless liquid, right? Lime water is a colorless liquid. When you pass carbon dioxide from the lime water, you will observe that colorless lime water will turn milky. So you can say that lime water turns milky. तो उसका जो color है ना वो गंदा हो जाएगा बच्चों. Lime water क्या हो जाएगा? Turns milky. वो गंदा गंदा सा हो जाएगा, whitish सा हो जाएगा, उसमें white precipitates बनना शुरू हो जाएंगे जिसकी वजह से उसका कलर गंदा हो जाएगा या white हो जाएगा. So you can say that this is the confirmation test for the carbon dioxide gas over there. अगर वहां carbon dioxide gas होगी तो it must turn the lime water milky. Is that right, बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
And one more thing that you need to keep remember over here is that बच्चों carbon dioxide is actually acidic. Carbon dioxide is actually acidic gas. So you need to keep remember that if you pass or if you place a damp blue litmus near the gas, if you place damp blue litmus paper near the gas, you will find that the blue litmus paper turns red, right? So this is also one of the tests for carbon dioxide. You need to understand this, that blue litmus paper changes to red because carbon dioxide is acidic, right, bachcho? So this is also one of the tests for carbon dioxide gas because it is acidic in nature. So one more thing over here in this reaction which is very important, bachcho, और वो क्या है आप देख सकते हैं. This is the compulsory thing over here. Whenever you are using any carbonate, if you want कि यार वो कार्बोनेट है तो आप उस कार्बोनेट को एसिड के साथ रिएक्शन करा रहे थे, आपके पास सॉल्ट, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड और वाटर बन रहा था, ठीक है ना. यही केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी यू कैन यूज फॉर द टेस्ट फॉर कार्बोनेट आयंस. फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने आपको दिया एक सॉल्ट, ठीक है ना. अभी पिछले सॉल्ट एनालिसिस में आप लोगों ने किया था. फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने आपको दिया एक सॉल्ट और वो सॉल्ट अननोन था और यू आर जस्ट थिंकिंग कि यार शायद इसमें कार्बोनेट भी हो सकता है. यू आर थिंकिंग कि आपके पास एक अननोन सॉल्ट है, राइट. वी नो दैट अननोन सॉल्ट क्या होता है बच्चों. अननोन सॉल्ट को आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए हमें पता होना चाहिए कि उसमें कैटाइन कौन सा है और एनाइन कौन सा है ना. तो फॉर एग्जांपल आप सब बच्चे ये सोच रहे हैं कि सर इसमें शायद कार्बोनेट आइन हो सकता है. अगर आपकी इस सोच को हमें कंफर्म करना है कि हाँ इसमें कार्बोनेट है या नहीं, तो आप क्या करें. सिंपल, दिस इज अ केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ एसिड्स. इफ यू वांट टू आइडेंटिफाई कार्बोनेट्स एनीवेयर, सो यू कैन ऐड व्हाट. So this is a test for carbonate ion also. Test for carbonate ion. What you need to do, you just need to add dilute hydrochloric acid. अगर वहां पर carbonate होगा, if the salt having carbonate, so it must react with acid and produce carbon dioxide gas. All right. अगर वो carbonate होगा, you know that there is a reaction of acids with metal carbonates. अगर उस salt में carbonate होगा, CO3 होगा, तो it must react with HCl and form what? Carbon dioxide, salt and water. And what will be the observation of this? You will say that a gas releases which turns lime water milky, which turns lime water milky. तो बच्चों यही आपके पास जो है, यही वाली जो प्रॉपर्टी है, इसके अंदर आपके पास कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की बात भी हो रही है एंड इसी वाले में आपके पास कार्बोनेट का टेस्ट भी हो रहा है. एंड दिस इज आल्सो द केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ एसिड्स एज वेल. सो इट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ एसिड which is in our syllabus. और वो अलग अलग तरीके से हमारे सिलेबस में है. आपके सिलेबस में ये कैटाइन एनाइन के टेस्ट के तौर पे भी है, कार्बोनेट के टेस्ट के तौर पे भी है. आपके सिलेबस में ये कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड के टेस्ट के तौर पर भी है और आपके सिलेबस में ये एसिड की प्रॉपर्टीज के तौर पर भी है. सो इट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. मैंने यहाँ पर इस केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी को हर एक चीज से कनेक्ट कर दिया है जो कि आपके सिलेबस में पूछी जा सकती है आपसे. ठीक है बच्चों, इज दैट क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू? बच्चों, इज दैट क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू?
Yes, sir. Yes.
किसी का कोई सवाल है तो मुझसे पूछ सकता है. कोई भी सवाल, आपका जो भी सवाल हो आप पूछ सकते हैं मुझसे. अगर आपका कोई सवाल नहीं है तो इसका मतलब मैं आगे जा सकता हूँ. Right, so we can move or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move towards the last chemical property of acids, which is actually neutralization reaction. When acid reacts with bases, they will form what? Salt and water. They will form what? Salt and water. You can use the word bases or you can use the word alkali as well. So this is a very simple difference between acid and bases, that acids are actually, alkalis are actually water soluble bases. So whenever you find metal hydroxide, they are actually alkalis. And whenever you find metal oxides, they are actually bases. So both are having the same character with acid. तो जब वो एसिड के साथ मिलते हैं तो क्या बनाते हैं? सॉल्ट और वाटर बनाते हैं. क्या बनाते हैं बच्चों? सॉल्ट और वाटर बनाते हैं. ठीक है. So this is a very simple reaction. For example, if you have HCl, when you react HCl with what? NaOH, this is alkali. When acid and alkali react together, they will form what? Salt and water. So this is actually neutralization reaction. This is actually neutralization reaction. Why we are using the word neutralization for this reaction, bacho? Because you can see this, that acids have below 7 pH. Acids की जो pH होती है वो होती है below 7, and bases have above 7 pH till 14, right? And the salts and the water both are having 7 pH and they are neutral. So that is why when you react two different pH solutions together and they are giving you two neutral products, so the products are neutral over here, that is why we are saying that this process is neutralization reaction, right? So bacho, is that clear? When acid reacts with base, neutralization take place, right? Or not?
Sir, salts and water both have neutral pH.
Both are neutral, but the universal neutral product is water. And some of the salts, right now this is neutral salt, but some of the salts can be acidic and bases, but the water is always neutral, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that is why whenever examiner asks you to write the ionic equation, for neutralization, if examiner asks you to write the ionic equation for neutralization, बच्चों, both are neutral products, but whenever examiner asks you to write the ionic equation for neutralization, you always need to write equation for water. So water is formed by H of acids and OH of bases. जब H positive acid से और OH negative bases से या alkalis से निकलता है तो इन दोनों मिलकर क्या बनाते हैं? Water बनाते हैं. They both are aqueous, right? And water is liquid. So this is actually ionic equation for neutralization. So you need to keep remember this. कोई सा भी acid हो, कोई सा भी base हो, पानी हमेशा ऐसे ही बनेगा. For example, अगर आपके पास H2SO4 हो, H2SO4 is reacting with potassium hydroxide. So definitely the salt can be changed. The salt can be potassium sulfate, but the water is over there, right? तो ये आपके पास बनेगा वैसे ही. So H ions of acids and OH ions of base, when react together, they will form what? Water molecules. Is that right, बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes it also happens like this. For example, if you have sulfuric acid and it is reacting with bases. Bases are what? Metal oxide. So you can see this copper oxide is base. It is not alkali because it is insoluble in water. So when these two react together, so you will have what? Copper sulfate, salt, and water molecule. Water molecule and copper sulfate. Again, over here, you can see this. The neutralization is taking place. Is that right, Bacho?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means you are going to understand all three reactions of acids, right? We need to understand these three reactions, that when acids reacts with metal, they will always form what? Salt and hydrogen gas, right? This is fixed, right? And you need to keep remember whenever acids reacts with metal carbonate, बच्चों, metal carbonate जिसमें CO3 हो, right? आपको identify करना है. Then you need to remember कि इसमें बनेगा क्या? Salt, carbon dioxide and water. And if you have acids and alkalis, right? Alkalis मतलब metal hydroxide, या अगर आपके पास metal oxides हो यानी कि base, they both when react with acid form what? Salt and water. So you need to keep remember these three chemical properties of acids, right? और इसको identify करके right product बनाना आपका काम है, ठीक है ना? So I am giving you some homework that you need to identify the two reactants कि कौन सी वाली chemical property apply हो रही है, and you need to write the correct formula of the products, right? So what is the homework for you, बच्चों? Homework is, for example, we have 4 different acids, right? We have HCl, we have H2SO4, we have HNO3, and we have H3PO4 as well, right? And for example, I'm using carbonic acid as well, right? So whenever we react, for example, we are adding zinc over here, what will be the product? For example, we are adding magnesium carbonate over there, what will be the product? For example, I am adding over here, like I am adding potassium hydroxide over here, so what will be the product? For example, I am adding like copper oxide over here, so what will be the product? And for example, over here I am adding copper, so what will be the product? So this is your homework. These are 5 different reactions. You need to write the correct formula of the product and the byproduct over there. हाइड्रोजन बन रही है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बन रही है, वाटर बन रहा है, क्या बन रहा है, वो आपने करेक्टली यहाँ पर लिखना है. And this is your homework, right, बच्चों?
And they should be balanced also.
Yeah. First of all, you need to write the correct formula of the product. If you are not able to balance the equation, that's fine. But you remember, you need to write the correct formula of the products. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Is that clear, every one of you?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So this is all about the chemical properties of acids. Hopefully, you will did it. You will do it perfectly in the tomorrow's class and send me before tomorrow's class as a homework, right? और कल याद से हमने start करना है water के test, right? If you want to check the presence of water, so what will be the test for that, right? So remember this, you need to take a heading of the test for the presence of water in your copies. So you guys going to tell me that start यहाँ से करना है. ٹھیک ہے بچوں؟ ٹھیک ہے ایوری ون آف یو.
Yes.
اوکے اگر کسی کا کوئی کوشچن ہے تو مجھ سے پوچھ سکتے